I wanna show you something, Ms. Wilkes and Mr. Dedrick. If you'd follow me. And he steps up and he walks towards the dark room.
Ooh. We may have stumbled into a very important clue. Oh, God.
There we go. G'day, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave, and I'll be your keeper for Arcane Lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. Currently, we are playing through the very recently released A Time to Harvest. You can get your own copy of the PDF from Chaosium.com. We also did a giveaway last week, and stay tuned because we may be doing more of those in the future. Our first two episodes are live now on the Chaosium YouTube, and if you're watching there and you'd like to see this chaos unfold live, we do stream each Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific on the Chaosium Twitch channel. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Roll20 and Sirenscape for being great tools which we use to improve our games. And now a short recap before we introduce our investigators and see if I can race Jackson to finish putting his lights on and get to his introduction. So previously, our three student investigators traveled down to Cobb's Corners in the Vermont Hills as part of a Miskatonic University field trip. On the first day, they got settled in and they had a strange encounter at night with something that lurked in the woods. On the second day, they divided into two teams. The first explored Cobb's Corners and conducted some interviews for local folklore. And the second drove out to the foothills to do geological surveys. Both teams uncovered some strange information that suggests not everything is as it seems. Now, as we resume on day 2, the day is turning towards evening. It is sweltering hot in the middle of summer, but grey clouds are gathering above the mountains. A storm is brewing. Stepping away from the library down in Cobb's Corners, we see Sebastian. Art, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Art. And I am playing Sebastian McCarthy, one of the McCarthys at the Miskatonic University. Seb is... How much of a recap are we doing?
Hey, give us a vibe.
Sure. Seb is a rakish young man. It's written in the description. Dressed pretty well for a sweltering hot day in the middle of... I was going to say rural Vermont, but we've covered that. Vermont. Who is, I think, stepping out of the library looking a little perturbed by the information that he's been provided by one anonymous source and one Ms. Wilkes. Although I think he's also slightly amused by the interactions between that one Miss Wilkes and a Mr. Trent. Because Seb is always about looking for the fun things in life. Yeah, what else do you need to know about Seb? He's a popular kind of guy, but surface level,
Yep.
No one really knows him.
Cool dude heading back down into town. So as Sebastian makes his way back out and into the city, we head up into the foothills where we find Chaz at the dig site. Jackson.
Hey, what? I'm Jackson, and I'm playing Chaz Dedrick, who is here because he's gotta be. He is gonna get those extra credits, and he is not gonna get kicked out of the university just yet. And what an excellent job he's doing. He's been working his chiseled body, his bulging pecs, his cheese grater abs, out here doing backbreaking work in the foothills. We're helping with the archaeological dig and the mineral testing. Everyone notices, that's the shirt came off instantly. He's covered in a fine kind of manly layer of sweat and dirt.
Seb's
all
not
the girls
gay,
are going to hear about it.
but he might be.
A little. Yeah, everyone's a little. What a charming fella. Also, Chaz headed out into the foothills to try and get away and be lazy, and I think his work's the hardest of everyone. You have gone out there, you have genuinely uncovered things, you've put pieces together, and you're planning to return tomorrow.
I don't think he wants to be lazy, but he'd rather lift heavy equipment and smash rocks than be stuck in a library.
Free workout, right?
Yeah, if you're really looking for rare minerals, check out these rock hard abs.
Yeah, just like super quickly, did you mean washboard abs? Because
Yeah.
cheese grater abs makes it sound like there's holes in them.
cheese grater abs, if you're super cut, you need that,
Yeah, I guess I did mean washboard, but they
can be
look kind of
both.
similar. They've got a similar kind of function.
Well, others define
Washboard
you.
is just less is lesser cheese
I
than
don't
cheese
know.
grater. Yeah.
I feel like I've heard cheese grater abs before.
Yeah.
Chat will
That
tell
seems
me
like
if
a
I'm
thing.
wong. but
I
think
have
that's a
not,
thing.
and I love that image of
Alright.
just you
Alright.
could grate cheese on
Well,
this.
speaking of terrifying physics, back down in Cobb's corners, inside the library, James playing Katie.
Katie Wilkes, the terrifying physique, glasses large enough to make her eyes look like big owl creepy sources of milk. Katie Wilkes is a nerd's nerd, the nerdiest nerd that ever did stride the halls of the Miskatonic University. She is a mathematics student, and she is currently looking into all of the very, very strange things that have been happening in this town, especially after having been terrified out of her mind last session by a strange figure with a melting face that she'd really like to get a better understanding of.
That's true. You had a nighttime encounter with a strange thing out in the woods that the other two saved you from. Let's hope
That's
okay.
right. To which I will be eternally grateful to them, or at least grateful up until the point where it comes back and finally gets me.
And they needed to keep people in between you and it.
Yes. One of the more critical things that I think that Katie's working on a couple of theories. Her memories were kind of altered a little bit by whatever was there, and it seemed to be searching for an answer as to why I had come out into the woods at night, not realizing that the answer was a series of extremely lucky rolls and kind of happenstance. But I'm on a pathway now, and I'm starting to put things together. They can't hide from me, and then I'll stick Mr. Washboard abs on him.
Boom. All right, that sounds like a plan. I don't know that it's a good one, but I guess that's what the dice are for, right? Let's see how it
I like
unfolds.
the last bit.
Yep.
Sick 'em, Chaz.
Chaz has started up a little vigilante crew as well.
Yes.
It's true. We're gonna bring in this serial killer who's stalking our group and made the students go missing last year. And I think that's gonna be worth some extra credit. In fact, I could probably just graduate right away.
See if you can just go straight to making detective or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give him a badge
that's
and a
how
gun
university
as
works.
quickly as possible. All right, fantastic. So when we pick back up, it's like 3 p.m. or so. Chaz, you're expecting to be picked up on the dig site in the next hour or so. Seb and Katie, you have another couple hours before the geological team will come back into the town, and then you'll all have a brief period before heading out to the McLaren farmhouse for dinner, compiling notes, and in theory going to bed for a good night's rest. So down in the city first, Seb and Katie, what are you trying to do with the last couple hours of your day? It is assumed that that for a portion of this you will spend sort of like just door knocking and gathering stories, so that you can begin to like find threads throughout their local history. But the day is with you.
I don't think I have gone door knocking, if you'll permit it. I think that I'm pretty driven in to try and figure out what's going on here, and I'm not really too concerned about keeping. Like I'm ostensibly here to go to see the doctor, so this isn't part of what I'm meant to be doing, and the groundwork that I'm going to put together here is extra as far as I'm concerned. I might start, I think I'd continue my research, but I've already made the rolls as such. I think what I would do instead, rather than trying to like roll for more research, because I think I've exhausted that avenue, is effectively say that I am documenting all of this and putting it together in a nice format. I spoke about how I was going to try and give to Chaz like a collection of writings because as like a thanks for saving me. And I think that I'm compiling all this information. I might stroll over to everybody and say, look, I found a string of suspicious deaths, because that's the kind of thing that you'd want to bring up.
So who are you taking this information to?
I think that I might present it to a few people once we get back to get back to the house at the end of the day. But for now, I think I'm compiling it. Like I'm making copies. I'm like trying to chart things out. I'm working as such.
So you're staying in the library and verifying the information you found and getting it into a legible format. It's also a lot of it's in books and things, so I guess at this point you are getting the information and making sure you have appropriate references, so everything can be like double checked.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you stay in the library for the remnant of the evening. The rain starts to spit outside and it's pattering against the glass. Jason Trent is over in a nook in another portion of the library, and you can see his nose is deep in a heavy tome with sort of like what looks to be a Latin title. The librarian is absent. She occasionally slips back and forth through the shelves, but for the most part spends it in an adjacent house nearby. It's her, what you presume to be granddaughter, who's at the front desk that's kind of keeping tabs on everyone. And whenever you look up, you see her looking at you, but when you try to make contact or just gesture at her, she looks back down again quickly and away and doesn't try to engage you.
Can I make a psychology test to try and pick what that's about? Whether she's suspicious, whether she's trying to just get a read on me or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. Is this you just sort of looking over the edge of your book and trying to get a read of her, or do you try to talk to her, try to engage her?
I think I probably go up to ask about some kind of administrative detail or ask after a book or like a reference or something, and then use that as a way to try and, build up a conversation.
Okay, and so what I think happens is you're asking for books. You're specifically trying to track down this string of deaths that have happened in Cobb's Corners. So you've asked her to bring you a reference book or something, and because this library is laid out in a fairly arcane manner, it's really on the librarian and Miss Amanda Wells is the girl's name that know how to find the books. So she heads through the stacks, fetches a couple of thin books and brings them to you, city records. And when she places them down before she leaves, you can talk to her or try to get a read.
All right, cool. I'll make this psychology check as I... Okay, I think I'm a little awkward. I'm not going to push this or luck it. I think it's more like I started a conversation, and if this doesn't prompt her to kind of like, in my head, say whatever burning question is on her lips or, give me that crucial piece of information, I'm a little too awkward to ask for it. So I just kind of, thank you, and we'll get back to what I'm doing.
Okay. As she puts them down, you can see she looks over the books and everything, sneers slightly, and says, we're going to be closing soon, so if you can wrap everything up, I need to shut this place down.
Oh, sure, thank you, I will.
Mm-hmm. And then she spins around, and you can hear her footsteps clicking back towards the desk. It's pretty early for a library to close, but in the next... 15 minutes or so, you'll get a repeated warning, and then once you've finished jotting your things down, you'll be booted out and towards the street. Jason Trent shortly following after. All right, so you spend your afternoon there. Sebastian, when you left Katie, the two of you had talked a little bit about some of the goings-ons, but you had some plans of your own of what you wanted to do in town. Where are you headed?
I am going to be headed to the grocery store to ask about the potential for a few of us to accompany them on their weekly delivery to Miss Bellwether out of town a little. Just try and see if we can use that as an avenue to get out there, and potentially, if they're amenable to the idea and are happy to take some cash, might also be the way we get back.
Okay. So you head down to the general store. It's a very wide building, but narrow because they have walls set up so they can keep stock in the back, and out the front there's a number of shelves with all sorts of local farming equipment, but also just treats and things. They have candies and stuff that they've brought in from town that the children can purchase, as well as toys and just general purpose supplies that people would need. This is multi-part grocer, general store, whatever you need in Cobb's Corners is kind of where you'd come to. When you come inside, there's a couple of people milling about, possibly another one of your fellow students, and behind the counter there is a heavily pregnant woman, which is Christine Carner, and Fred Carner, who comes quickly bustling out from the back when she calls. The two of them run the whole thing. Fred makes sure that Christine's sitting down and comfortable, and then he comes over to help you. Standing behind the counter, he says, so what can I help you with, sir?
Hello. I am part of the Miskatonic University expedition.
I could have
and
guessed.
Indeed. We were informed that Miss Agnes Bellwether is a person that has a lot of knowledge about local history. She's a little ways out of town, and we are a little light on transportation, and I understand that you do a grocery run out to her once a week. We were wondering if a handful of us could tag along as a way of getting out there, and if you're amenable, perhaps we can come to some arrangement for you to wait around a little longer than you would usually, so we can get a lift back.
We do, yeah, sure. We try to get out to Agnes at least once a week. She's a bit isolated out there. It's a couple-hour drive, and Christina normally do it, but I think I'm on shift this week. He checks some details with her and then says, we have a package that's ready to go out to her. We were going to go on Monday, but given this storm's brewing, there's a chance we might not be able to get out there if one of the roads gets washed, so we're going to head out there tomorrow afternoon. You're more than welcome to come with us. Unfortunately, I can't promise a long stay. I need to get back and make sure everything's being worked on, but we can definitely get you out there in a half hour or so to ask some questions.
I think a half hour is more than reasonable. If you're willing to extend that to an hour, I'm more than happy to compensate you for your time. We have been given a small stipend for that kind of, making sure that we're not inconveniencing anyone too much. But obviously, I understand if that's not within the realms of possibility at this time.
Could you give me a persuasion check or charm? I could say, whichever is your flavor.
Let's go persuade.
Yeah, perfect.
Come on. I mean, you can have 3 points of luck. That's ridiculous. Also, I rolled...
Death by 1,000.
I mean, so I'm back to my starting luck, because I just added 3 before the session.
Well, hey, that's a free
So,
luck
hey.
check. You take that. Okay.
Yeah, so I will use 3 points of luck to get a success on this one.
When you try to tell him, like, we'll give you some money to compensate, he goes like, no. Look, payment's fine. We do more than well enough ourselves. Listen, I will stay out there as long as possible. We might be able to scrape an hour. If you can just help me load and unload the car when we get there, that'd be more than appreciated. Will it be just you, or do you have any friends coming with you?
It will certainly be me. As to whether or not anyone else will be accompanying me, I think that will depend on whether or not the other people of my group have other things they need to be getting on with on Sunday. There may be 1 or 2 other people coming. We will have potentially some rather delicate equipment with us, if that can be stored in the truck in some manner that makes it secure. That would be ideal. Otherwise, I'll take responsibility for holding on to that.
We're used to moving things back and forth. That won't be a worry. Listen, we can fit one of you comfortably, another squeezed in, and anyone else is going to have to ride in the tray in the back, which is more than fine, but we'll take it slow.
Of course. No, that sounds fantastic. If 1 is comfortable and 2 is maybe, we can ensure that there's no more than that.
Perfect. All right, well, unless there's anything else you want to purchase inside the store.
May I have like a tiny little just narrative bullshit?
Yeah, of course.
Do they have pitchforks?
Yeah.
So as like Seb's wandering out, I think he sees a pitchfork, just goes over and like taps on the top of one of the spines and is like, pointy, and then leaves.
Hell yeah. All right. Tremendous. So as Seb heads back out into the street, rain's beginning to fall now, and you sort of stand underneath the eaves watching the people come and go. A lot of the folks that were out there sort of like eating ice creams and walking their dogs have now returned indoors. It's still hot, but it's beginning to get muggy. Elsewhere, up in the foothills, you've had a hard day's work, Chaz. You're feeling, tired, you're sweaty, but you have accomplished a fair bit. The grid that was laid out to dig through, a slower team, a more methodical team wouldn't have accomplished nearly as much as you. You powered through like half of it immediately, digging up stuff and flicking around rocks. It's been fairly successful. You're also with Clarissa, Higgins, and Block, and the 3 of you had a short conversation earlier on about some of the strange things you'd found, and also about the fact that Blaine hasn't returned, and he was supposed to come back and check on you. As the day gets longer, Clarissa's regularly checking her watch and looking down towards the road. Block packed up the equipment a while ago, ready to put loaded onto the truck because you don't want to leave anything out here, especially not with a storm brewing. And Higgins is just walking over the grid, examining the work that you've been done. Everyone's kind of ready to go, and as the clock ticks past, it's maybe 10, 15 minutes after when you were supposed to already be picked up.
You're doing to me, Dave. All right. Well, Blaine and Harlow's got to be back sometime, right?
I mean, I guess it's way too far to walk down from here.
How long you reckon it'd take?
From up here, I mean, it's a 2-hour drive. I reckon at least a half-day walk, and it's beginning to spit. It's gonna be muddy and all sorts of hell, especially if we're carrying any of this equipment. We could try and drag it back down to where the bus was parked. If that's still there, then maybe we could at least load that up, but I don't see much alternative.
All right, well, I mean, we got a plan for the fact that we might be left up here, right? So why don't we have a look around, see if we can get some kind of shelter going? Any of the equipment there we could put up to try to keep the rain off us?
Higgins excitedly goes over to one, breaks open, begins to unfurl a tarp, get a stick together and try and jam up an impromptu tent. It's pretty basic. Clarissa stands with her arms folded and says, "No, he's gonna be here soon. We just need to wait. Setting this up is stupid. We're just gonna have to break it all back down again. Just hold on. It's only 15 minutes after. Let's give it at least until 1:30, and then think about doing something else."
No, come on, Clarissa. We gotta do it now before we get wet. No point in doing it after we get wet.
How persuasive is Chaz?
Not very. More intimidating, but that would not be appropriate to intimidate Clarissa. Because I believe you described her as particularly beautiful. So Chaz is keeping that
and popular
option open. And popular, just like Chaz. Beautiful and popular. Match made in heaven. Where is persuade? Oh, the alphabet. Yeah, no, 15.
Okay, so I think Block and Higgins, you've kind of already rallied to your cause. So Higgins begins to set up a little tent, and Block drags some stuff under, but Clarissa stops them from breaking anything out further and urges you to wait. As you sort of move over and sit in one of the containers underneath this slightly leaky tarp, which is dripping around, you're looking out over your surveyed section, and already you can see some of your work beginning to be washed away. And if this storm continues to build, it's all going to be gone sometime tomorrow.
Work as in everything we've dug up.
Yeah. Well, or
right.
just your methodical moving through the sections. Once stuff begins
Makes
to get
sense.
shifted down and washed away, you'll lose
Yeah.
it. You spot a light further down the driveway, which ascended up towards the dig site, and you can see beams beginning to come. Clarissa stands up and says, "Look, I told you they'd come. Let's pack all this up now, and let's get ready to go."
Well, no, hold on. Let's make sure it's actually them, right? We don't want to just pack up in case it's just some farmer coming home.
Who else is going to be driving up here into the middle of the hills?
All right, well, let's just wave them down and have a look. All right? No, I don't want to get wet. I don't want you to get wet, Clarissa.
Okay. As you say that, driving up and parking in front of you is Joe Harlow's truck.
Right.
It stops, and as the driver's seat door opens, Harlow hops out, but Blaine does not emerge. And as you begin to move and pack up the equipment, there's no sign of him. It's just Harlow. Again, a sort of an older-looking white fellow, very weathered skin and with a wide straw hat. As he approaches over to you, he hails you down and goes, "Hey there, let's get all this in the back of the truck. I don't know where Blaine is. He never came back to meet me in town, but you're well past being picked up. I didn't want to leave you out there in this growing storm, so get everything in and let's get you back into Cobb's Corners."
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, you begin to load all the crap up.
Indeed.
Okay.
And I do it fast.
Oh, he's so
Strong.
quick.
Yeah.
Everything's broken down quickly, favoring speed and feats of strength over efficient packing and preserving delicate instruments. Soon the truck is loaded and everyone jams into it. It's a pretty tight fit. You in the passenger seat or just sliding in the back with the rest?
We'll weather the storm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You hop into the back and leave some space for the others. So are you actually sitting in the tray?
I guess so. It's one of those things where
It's
there's
a
just one or
dual
two
cab.
seats inside.
It's a dual cab, so it's got two at the
Ooh,
front
a
and
dual cab.
2 at the back, or 3 if you really jam in. But you're a
Yeah,
big guy.
If we can all fit in, we'll try to all fit inside. No point in getting wet.
Okay, in that case, you slide into the back. Clarissa takes the passenger seat, and the three boys, with Higgins, the slenderest one, jammed into the center, you begin to bounce down the road heading towards Cobb's Corners. As you're looking out the window, just watching the rain trickle down and staring at the trees behind you, for a moment, gazing high up into the hills, you see something flash, like a very high and powerful torch that clicks on and off, and then on again, but a slightly different hue, shifting from yellow to red. Could you give me a spot hidden roll, please?
I can.
We want an extreme success. We want to maintain the luck we've had so far.
Extreme success and head straight into disaster?
Oh.
Not a fumble.
No, it's not.
Can I say stop the car and get out to push it?
To push it? Okay, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and...
I don't think it's going to work, but it would amuse me.
Hey, yeah, go for it.
Ooh.
That's pretty close.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, you can't luck the pushed roll.
Oh, you can't luck push rolls.
Good try there. So from the back seat, you yell, "Stop the car!" Harlow, jams on the brakes, and the whole thing slides a half foot or so in the mud as it lurches to a stop. You hurl over the window and, you hurl open the door and step out into the rain, which is beginning to drop down around you, soon soaking through your shirt. You scan the trees around you, but they're dark and tall, and the sun's blocked behind a large, thick cloud at the moment, and it's hard to make anything out. You stop for a moment, peering out towards the foothills, trying to see anything, but there's nothing. A beat goes past, and from behind you, Higgins goes, "Hey, what's going on, Dedrick?"
There's a torch out there. There's someone with a torch out there.
What do you mean? I don't see anything.
Yeah, no, it's just for a second. Someone's flashing a flashlight or something.
From the front seat, Harlow leans over and he goes, "Get back in the car, all right? We got to get you into town. No one goes up there. There isn't anything. Must just been a trick of luck."
No farms or
Not up
mines or
there,
anything
no.
like that?
No, that's dead, deep forest. Nothing up there.
All right. Hope no one's wandering around trying to flag us down, that's all.
It's actually a pretty good point, and it's enough to, like, Harlow goes, "Better check," and he pulls over to the side of the road, leans over past Clarissa and gets like a pair of heavy binoculars from the glove compartment, stands up on the tray and begins to scan the edge.
Very cool.
There's a moment or two. You keep watching throughout this as rain's beginning to drop down. Clarissa's sitting in the front, impatient. Higgins gets out a little bit excited, but soon the energy leaves and he gets back in before he gets too wet. You stand with Harlow for a while, but there's no sign of anything. You don't see the flash again. And after a bit, Harlow puts down the goggles and says, "Look, if there's anyone out there, this ain't gonna be too bad. They'll settle down, and I'll mention to the sheriff. Maybe he can send, ask around, see if anyone was supposed to be out there camping."
All right.
As he heads back to the car, you see him stop for a moment before he gets in, and it's just the two of you out there in the rain. And he says, there are, rumors and such about the deep country up there. People say they've seen lights and weird sounds and things that come down from the hills. I never heard them myself, never seen them, but, people misinterpret natural events and such. It's, folks say there's, gateways to hell up there in the mountains.
Really?
Sure.
I'd like to hear more about that. Maybe you could tell me a little bit on the road.
I'll tell you what I know, but it's all rumor, son. It's, people misinterpreting natural phenomena. That's all that is.
I don't know what kind of natural phenomenon is flashing a red and yellow flashlight out in the middle of nowhere.
He slides back in and you squeeze into the back, and as you begin to jolt back down and into Cobb's Corners, he will say a little bit about it. He says that there's in the past there were said to be witch lights or whatever out in the deep woods that were seen. But they're the sort of thing that faded as the big city got closer. But out here in the sticks, people still claim to see them every now and then or hear things. And basically, the deeper and further away it is, the more people claim to see it. Harlow's never seen them, but he says, you talk around in town, you might find some folks that say they have.
All right, I'm gonna scribble that down, lock it away, and submit it for extra credit as soon as possible.
All right.
Once again, Chaz just working, just doing the work.
This is what you gotta do. You gotta have as much fun throughout the school year as you can, and then when you've got an opportunity to get some extra credit, you just crunch it down to as small time as possible. That's right.
Tremendous. All right, so eventually the car drives down, and at this point our timelines merge again. Sebastian, as you step out from the grocery store, Katie, you were booted from the library a little long ago. Both of you in different points will at one point see Harlow's truck driving through, bouncing with those like bright orange containers on the back labeled Federated Oil and Chemical, and it pulls in front of the general store near the diner, and out hops Chaz, Clarissa, and Roderick, who begin to unload equipment. Harlow, actually, sorry, don't unload equipment. It's going to be going back to the farmhouse. Harlow hops out, and as the students begin to gather, not everyone, Laszlo and Noakes are still door knocking, and Jason Trent isn't around, but most of the others begin to reconvene. Standing near the sheriff's thing, you can see the bus that you all drove in on is parked by the sheriff's thing, but there's no sign of Blaine. Clarissa, looking over everything, says, checking her watch again, well, we weren't due to go back to the farmhouse for another hour or so. We were going to leave at 6, so I guess everyone just waits and let's be ready to go when Blaine gets back, wherever he is.
All right, well, Harlow, when'd you last see Blaine? You dropped him off back in town, right? Where'd he go?
Harlow leans on the car and says, I came back, dropped him in town right after dropping off the 4 of you, sorry. Then I had some work to do. I tended to. I came back. I was supposed to pick him up around, 2 p.m. Didn't show. I waited for an hour or so in the diner and then headed back up.
Didn't say where he was going?
No, didn't say anything.
Are we here for this?
Yep. Everyone's reconvened at this point.
Right.
Very, very quickly, just asking about locations. Trent and I would have walked over from the library, or
Yes.
at least I would have seen where Trent darted off to. Did you mention Trent wasn't here currently?
Yeah. As you left the library, you got kicked out onto the thing. You weren't able to check out any books, but you have your notes bundled, and you can go back and you can reconfirm things now. As you look around, there's no sign of Trent. He must have either left before you. He probably isn't back in there because currently Amanda's locking it up. You could give me a spot hidden or a track roll. It appears he slipped out when you weren't looking.
Okay, yeah, I'll make it.
Again, this isn't you being paranoid. This is just narratively you're looking around going, I wonder where he went.
Yeah, no, I was meaning to talk to him anyway, so I'll make a spot hidden check. That's a failure. He's gone.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little curious. You look around and he's nowhere nearby, but you just in the back of my mind you go, he must have just slipped out earlier, and you head down to rejoin everyone else.
Are you saying anything about him being missing?
I will bring it up once we get into conversation. Actually, this feels like a good time. I'll sort of look around and say, Jason's also, I don't know where he is.
Trent's gone as well?
Block goes, who?
The
little one.
kid.
Did he
Junior.
come with us? I thought he was like a
minute.
I thought he was like an intern or something. I didn't realize he was actually with. Oh, all right. Well, he's not here. Laszlo and Noakes aren't here. Hell, I reckon we just cut losses. If we lose Laszlo, that sounds like a win. Net positive, right? Otherwise, I think quick head count. Yeah, everyone else is here or nearby. Like you can see Gibbons in the diner. Block claps his hands. He says, well, I'm going to get some food if nothing's urgent, right? And then we'll all just wait here. Nowhere to go. We're not going to drive the bus back.
Come on, 4 people are missing, right? We're breaking the record from last year. I don't like the sound of that.
What do you want to do? Just start canvassing the town, see if we can find them? They're probably just searching around, enjoying things. We got time. Still another hour or so. Why don't we give them a beat?
We probably need some people to wait at the diner anyway. I can come with you and start knocking on doors if you want. Chaz?
Yeah, I don't like it. I think something's afoot. Chaz is hoping something is afoot.
Clarissa goes, well, I'm going to go talk to the sheriff then. That sounds like his problem. If people are missing, that's when you contact the police.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
all right.
that's an excellent idea, Miss Thurber. Would you like company, or are you happy to go alone?
Chaosium goes, certainly.
Very well, I'll attend with you.
All right, she begins to head up towards the sheriff's office. Block and Higgins are going to go to the diner and post up there.
Me and Katie gonna hit the streets.
Okay. All right. So Katie and Chaz, a very odd couple pairing, begin to head down through the streets and search for the the 4 missing students.
I have a few things I'll add so
3
as we get
students,
away. They're all missing.
I guess and he is a
murdered.
student as well. Yeah.
I will say, Chaz, I got something for you as thanks for helping me out last night. And I'll start like fumbling through and pull out like sections of an exercise book and hand it across to you. And these are this is the work I did establishing the like folklore basis of the town. And I'll hand it over to you. You can use this and fill it out and use it as a framework. I know that you missed some of the study days, but also I found this and I think I was right. I think there was someone out there, someone creepy, because look. And I will explain and show you all the trends and try and explain that there's been a strange spree of murders or suspicious deaths. And demonstrate that there is something bizarre going on in Cobb's Corners for the young, and that tracks with missing students, and that tracks with it's a disaster. And I've got the evidence right here. They kicked me out of the library before I could get the rest of it.
Oh, I mean, Katie, this is pretty good. We could blow the lid off this thing.
Well, I mean, whatever that crazed man was, whatever was wrong with him, I don't want him coming back, and I want to figure out what was happening. I wasn't. It wasn't a dream. I wasn't crazy or nothing like that.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I reckon with your brains and my brawn, we might just be able to take this guy down. Yeah,
it'll be good. Okay, well let's get back to some of the towns. One thing is, if we find anywhere that's, I mean, I hate to say it, but there's always the chance that Blaine's gone drinking. You've heard the rumors.
Right. Yeah. Where do you reckon he'd find a drop in this town?
That's kind of more of your field of expertise, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spent much time here, but let me have a look at the map here that we were handed. We had a tour of the town.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did someone mention where you would find a drink if you had to?
The tour was given by the deputy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough.
It is prohibition.
Yeah. So I guess, like, I don't know, diners tend to have like you can sort of ask to see the menu, but I don't know if this diner will.
Little family diners. Jim's Grill is the only other eating establishment I can see.
Yeah.
That is the diner, I think.
Oh, that is the diner.
is
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forget.
Yeah.
All right. The goods.
I bet we could find out by asking the Cobb's Corners Gazette fella. I reckon he'll know where you can get a drink in this town if anybody knows. Shall we check the houses on our way to the Cobb's Corner Gazette, and maybe we can have a word?
I like that. And I wouldn't mind seeing the newspaper from today neither.
Oh, yeah.
No reason.
Vaguely remember you giving that interview and sort of blanch for a moment. All right, sounds like a plan.
So the plan
to
was
the Gazette.
to head towards the Gazette, which is actually very close. The Gazette is right across from Kana's Goods and very near to the sheriff's office. So it's a short walk. So the two of you sort of like walk for a little bit, discussing. You get towards the town center, which is pretty much empty. You can see the cannon glistening a little bit in the falling rain, before realizing that the Gazette might be you're being 180ing and heading towards that. With that in mind, then, as you head towards that, walking up and into the sheriff's office, Sebastian and Clarissa head inside. There's no sign of the deputy, and there's no one else in here. The sheriff is posted up behind a desk. He's got a cigarette rolled and perched between his lips, and he's got a newspaper unfurled in front of him, which he's looking over and severely examining. As you come inside, he tilts it down enough to get to see who it is, and then just refurls it again, so you're just completely blocked off from view, and you'll have to approach and like knock to get his attention.
Oh god.
You head in. He folds it down very pointedly, runs a line along it to crease it, folds it again, and places it down on the desk so that you can't see the detail inside it. He goes, "What can I do for you?"
I'm gonna let Clarissa take this one. Enjoy having an NPC conversation, Dave.
Not loud.
All right, so what happened? Clarissa comes forward and standing behind you will say, we've lost a bunch of students, but the main one being we don't know where Blaine is. The sheriff goes, "With the deputy," and doesn't expand much on that. And Thurber goes, "Okay, well, are they coming back soon?" He goes, "In their own time," and doesn't give much more elaboration. When she says that students have gone missing in the town, it's like a minute of silence that refuses to be broken by anyone before he sighs, steps up, and walks over to get his coat and hat. And he goes, "Right. Best go looking." He puts the hat on and heads outside without either of you. And he doesn't wait. Like, he's not going with you. He's going to go do it himself. Is there anything further you want to say or search?
I will on it as he, steps up to get his hat. I will just say, Sheriff, do you happen to know where the deputy is at this time?
He goes, "Nope, his business."
Thank you for your time.
And then he heads outside.
It really is with sheriffs like that sort of character. I think you wonder, are they this gruff, no-nonsense sheriff who's gonna get it all done and doesn't have time to deal with the trifling minor stuff, or are they incompetent, aggravating, and just a plain old asshole?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
50-50. All right. As this happens, Clarissa Clarissa's waiting and the sheriff's leading, saying, deputy with his business, they'll be back in time. Clarissa leads over, unfolds the paper, and you hear a short, "Oh." And we cut over to Chaz and Katie as they approach the Gazette. So the Gazette is a white building. It does stand out a little bit amongst the town. And proudly emblazoned on the front, it reads Cobb's Corners Gazette. And underneath it says Richard Wendell, reporter, editor, and printer. On the second story, you can see that there are curtains which have been drawn, but you can see cans of things in the windows. Like, that's his house on the second story, and the lower level is the Gazette itself. What do the two of you want to do?
I guess
Break down the door.
Don't break anything. Just knock.
All right. We knock.
Okay. You knock. There's a short break, and then you hear footsteps, a lock being clicked open, and then the door is flung open, and Richard Wendell, the reporter, is standing in front of you. He's wearing like a partially unbuttoned shirt, not tucked into his trousers. He doesn't have the hat or anything, and he's just wearing one sock. The other one is probably misplaced somewhere inside the apartment. As he comes to the front, he goes, "Hello, how can I help, Mr. Dedrick?" And
The very
well,
same.
Miss, I don't think I've had the pleasure.
I'm Miss Wilkes. Hello.
Well, Miss Wilkes, Mr. Dedrick, why don't you both come inside? I'm sure there's some space in here. He ushers you both in, and you're standing in a very cramped hallway. To one side, you can see is a full functional printing press, with all the associated bits for that. I imagine it takes up a significant portion of space. There's also a dark room that he leads you past. And then he walks into an office with a bunch of things strung up on the wall. Do either of you have any skill with photography, or do you think, not even talking mechanically, the skill points? Do you think your characters have done photography stuff in the past? Is it an interest they might have had?
I almost took arts and craft photography as a skill. I didn't. So based on that, I'm going to say that I have a tiny bit of familiarity with it.
Yeah,
but
like a
I don't have
hobby.
any skill points yet.
You-
I feel like that can apply to Katie as well. She almost took a photography class, but then thought, no, that won't have practical applications.
Oh no, I was talking about Katie. I know nothing about
right.
photography. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I guess
no,
I did
yeah.
I did film, but which it has some
Yeah.
similarity. But
I would say, I mean, like Katie seems like you would have like joined the club for like a semester to get a credit and then dipped, or like you tried to help out and then it turned out it wasn't that useful.
joined with my twin, and then she took an award-winning picture, and I quit.
With that in mind, could you give me a spot hidden check, please, Katie?
Sure. Yeah, that's
Okay.
a success.
As you go past the dark room, you're curious enough to like stop and have a look at it. The door is closed, but it's ever so slightly jarring. You notice the door and the door frame itself actually are much newer than anything else out in the building, and they stand out like they're freshly painted, whereas the rest of the place is a little bit run down and falling apart. Just enough to be a little strange. You're both led back and into an office where you can see there are like pictures pinned up on the walls, half-written articles, piles and piles of journals. And Wendell perches himself in a seat on the other side and swings it around like he's like, a cool crime boss guy, and the two of you are attending to him, and you sit across from him on the other side of the table, and he goes, well, so Mr. Dederick, did you see the paper today?
I haven't. I thought I'd, drop by and see if you had a spare copy lying around. I've been up in the foothills all day,
Ah, I see. Well, yep, freshly printed, spread throughout the town, sending the good word, and, well, it would be my honor to give you a copy. He rifles through a stack of documents, pulls out a paper, places it on the table, and slides it across to you. It reads.
Oh god.
Here we go.
Here we are.
It reads, disastrous expedition returns. Subheading, is history doomed to repeat? In big block capitals on the front of it. There are two photos included. One is of a beautiful blonde woman. It is clearly a university photo, and the two of you would know this to be Daphne Devine, or you could read the title underneath it, which reads Daphne Devine. And then in parentheses it says deceased ? There's then like text, and then another photo is included, which is a little strange. It is of Chaz Dederick and Jim Jeffries standing together in what looks like a football field or something, with their arms around one another, giving like a thumbs up to the camera.
Oh my god, he's editing the pictures.
As you look at it closely, actually, it genuinely could you both give me intelligence checks? I think is gonna be the closest.
All right, coming up.
That is odd.
Hard success.
For folks who don't remember me giving this interview, Chaz did not know Andrews at all and just made it all up.
Okay, Chaz, you look at it and you go, huh.
Huh.
Maybe I did play football. Katie, the pose that Chaz is in, this is a doctored image. This is before Photoshop and things. This is pretty hard to do, and he's done a good job of it. Like it's a little grainy and stuff, but you're able to see that Chaz is wearing you can see like a blend where it's used the varsity jacket that Chaz is already wearing as part of it. Like it's clearly the photo he took the other day, doctored with. Also, presumably that is Jeffries, but he would have had to find another one. Like this is pretty talented faking work, but it is fake. Inside the article. It goes on to say that it basically repeats the story of the lost expedition. I mean, they went out in the foothills. It emphasizes Jeffrey's success as a geologist, and that he was being scouted for the NFL, and that he was really on a massive upward trajectory. And then it begins to focus on Robert Blaine, who did not return with the expedition when they came back to Vermont. It suggests that Blaine might have been jealous of Jeffrey's success. It suggests that Blaine might have been jealous of Devine and Jeffrey's closeness. It suggests that Blaine might have been involved in them going missing and possibly their murder. It then concludes by telling locals of Cobb's Corners to be on the lookout and to make sure they do not get caught in the crossfire of revenge when the students come back to town. It is inflammatory. It is outright hostile, and it is slanderous to Blaine and his dead and missing colleagues. You do not imagine he will be particularly happy when he sees this.
He's probably already seen this. We've been gone for all day. Wow.
Just because I think it's interesting, doctoring images was something that was exceedingly common. And most images you see from, like, even the 1900s, most of them have been professionally doctored.
That's interesting.
There you go.
They literally just used burn and dodge, which are things you can do physically. You don't need Photoshop, and then painted.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. So this is done with like physical tricks and things.
Yeah.
And what's hilarious in the 30s, especially, you can see photos. There's a photo of like Stalin with a couple of his government mates kind of standing on a bridge, and as they were kind of unpersoned, they painted them out of the photo
yes,
one
I
by
have
one. You
heard
can
of
actually
that,
see
yeah.
this same photo where people keep disappearing out of the photo until it's just a photo of Stalin standing on a bridge. It's hilarious.
Oh my god.
All right. As you finish reading this, the two of you look to one another first, and then across to Wendell, who seems to be like happily spinning his chair, and he looks over to you and he goes, "Huh?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say."
Well, I mean, I gotta say, Mr. Wendell, where'd you get this photo from? It must have been for such a long time ago. I don't even remember it being taken.
Oh, well, I mean, the story really needed a photo to kind of sell the sell the story. You know, people like images; they grab to them. So I cooked this little one up myself. You know, I extrapolated and I made it so that people could see what I pictured. You understand?
That's amazing, Mr. Wendell. I hope it's not too much trouble to ask, but do you think I could get a copy of this? I don't know if I have many photos with John at all, and well, it'd mean a lot to me.
Yeah, of course. Hey, I printed up a whole barrel, and I mean, they're spread across town. We do this every day. So yeah, let me see what I can get you. He pulls out another one, and he goes, yeah, this one's fresh. Here, take this one, and I'll take that one back. And he gives you like a clean, recently printed one.
Thank you, Mr. Wendell, and well, I can see you got quite a talent for journalism here. It's evocative. It's strong.
It's exciting, you know? That's what journalism should be. It should excite. It should inspire the imagination of those around us. That's what I say. You know, Mr. Dedrick, it is good to be appreciated, you know, in this time. I think so many people see journalism and such, and they think that it gets so bogged down in truth, you know? But what I think that truth has layers, you know? And if you can extrapolate that underneath, if you can shine a light down there and kind of bring people's attention to that which they might not notice, they will find their own truth in that, you know? Does that make sense?
I'm sure it does to someone smarter than me.
I might leap in here, and seeing that Chaz appears to be enthusiastic here, the gears in Katie's head are turning, and she would say, "No, I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree. I think that there's journalism is important. It really is the last true art form."
That is exactly right, Miss Wilkes. That is exactly right. The last true art form. You know, we hold out against all others, and you know we let the people know what's really going on. We let them know.
Listen, I'd like to give you something in support of your art, if you'd let me. But there's just one thing. I really, with reading what's here, I think that I've got to be a little bit, you know, scared for myself if there's even a possibility that Blaine could be involved with, you know, what you've printed here, then, you know, a young woman like myself has to be careful. So I have some information I want to give you, but on the condition that it is as an anonymous source.
Sure. I can do anonymous. People tend to see anonymity as kind of cowardice, though, you know? So, how would this suit? I'll just put it under another name. Say someone else came forward and they told me the story. Is that fine? It won't be you. It'll be someone else. Is that? I'll just
I kind of fine by me.
How does Katie deal with cheaters and liars?
I actually think that I think she doesn't. I think she doesn't like some kinds of cheating, but I also think that she sees, she's big nerd energy is a sort of guiding principle. So what I would like to assume that she would have a problem with people cheating in an exam or something like that. But that said, I think that she's also somebody who is quite strict on, like, just get things right and do it properly. If you need to cheat to do it, you can bend the rules and get around things. Like, she's fine with giving Chaz some of the work that she's done and that sort of stuff. So I don't think that, and she's actually got a decent fast talk skill. I think that she sees cheating and lying as, as long as they are used as tools in pursuit of, knowledge and study, they're just a tool like any other. And I actually think that she genuinely is quite interested in journalism at this stage. Like looking at all of this, she's like, and seeing the power that, this article has had, I think that she's really driven to reveal some of the information she has. And so what I would like to do is I would like to give over the proof that I spent some time getting together, the trends of a series of suspicious not murders, but deaths over the last several years in the town.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's exactly the kind of thing that he would glum to.
Okay, that's very exciting.
Also, it might steal the headline away from Blaine.
Okay, so you get out your own journal and you put it down and you begin to explain your theory and the information you found that, the unlikely, the high death rate of Cobb's Corners and its ties to the young adults in particular. Wendell listens eagerly, and as you begin to get through it, he gets out his own journal and begins to jot down a couple things. And you can see that in this journal he had information already, some of it. Chaz, what are you doing throughout this? Katie is giving away your work in theory, or side doing. Are you happy with how everything's going?
Yeah, I'm happy to get this guy on side. He seems like, he knows what's going on, and he can get the word out if we need to get a word out.
Okay.
He's a talented individual.
All right. The three of you gather in this little back office and begin to compare some notes. Once he can see it beginning to heat up, he goes, just give me a quick moment, would you? He gets up and he shutters the blinds around it before returning and starting like a small lamp on the table and writing down some of it. He goes, I've looked into some of this stuff before. This idea that, more people, like the young around here have a high mortality rate. I never found the proof, I think I'm more of a street journalist, talking to folks, extrapolating things so much than doing like research in libraries and things. But this is good.
You need both sides. You need the people who can't talk to others, who don't have that art aspect of it, and then people like you who do.
This is real good, Miss Wilkes. I can run something like this. Although what you're saying here, this is about the city we're in. These people have not taken kindly to some of the truths I have shared in the past. Something like this could mean trouble. This is the sort of thing we might want to get printed elsewhere. We go Brattleboro or hell, even further. This is big, possibly. I want to show you something, Ms. Wilkes and Mr. Dedrick. If you'd follow me. And he steps up and he walks towards the dark room.
Ooh. We may have stumbled into a very important clue. Oh, God.
Okay.
That's what we do with important clues. We stumble into them.
Whap! The two of you follow him towards the dark room, and he opens the door and steps to the side so that both of you can file in. It is completely black in here. You can't see anything. And he steps back out and begins to close the door. So the two of you will be inside.
What are you doing?
He goes, trust me, Mr. Dedrick. Trust the process. And begins to slide it closed. It hits and you can hear it click shut. From the other side, muffled, you hear, It's dark in there, isn't it?
Yeah?
Can't see nothing.
No.
I make my pictures in there, Mr. Dedrick and Miss Wilkes. That's where I find the truth.
This has gotten very creepy very fast.
Okay.
And the door here was new.
What are
Go.
we looking for?
In the past, there have been people that don't trust my pictures. There have been people that think I'm lying about what I print. But every now and then, I find something real. And the last time I found something, they made sure I couldn't tell nobody. On the walls, Chaz, you're like looking around, like feeling there's nothing in here. Your like hands touch the wall and you feel something like a smudge against it. And you can't see, but you like rub your hands together and there's something like chalky or whatever on the other side. Could both of you give me sanity rolls?
Yeah, that seems about
Not
fair
super
at
high
this
penalty,
stage.
but this is just being locked in the dark, and I just want to see how you guys handle this.
Fail for me. No, I think we're both
Yeah,
immediately
Both of you take a
nervous.
point, and yeah, how do you respond?
Okay. Probably shouldn't have trusted the crazy guy. He was crazy, but I thought he was the good crazy, and I'm not sure if he's the good crazy anymore.
What did you do?
I go really quiet and start kind of like waiting for him to say something. I'm still hoping that he's going to go, and now the, red lights are turned on or whatever.
Chaz?
All right, it'll be fine. Let's just get through this. Let's just amuse him.
Okay. The two of you, nervous, heart beginning to race, beginning to wonder if you should have trusted this person. You can feel something against the wall, and when you pull it back, suddenly the door cracks and light begins to filter in again. He swings it open, and on the interior now what you can see is there are scorch marks on the sides of the walls, and what you were touching was ash. One of the walls has been repainted towards the right, and you can see like a couple of tables with the equipment he needs to create photos there, but one side's completely burned. Wendell steps back inside, and he says, I got a photo one night. I was developing a new film, and I captured something. But whatever I got, I wasn't supposed to see. Because I woke up late the next night. I could smell smoke. And when I raced downstairs, I saw my dark room, where I create my photos, where I do my work, was on fire. I rushed inside, but nothing could be done. I mean, it was going up. It's a miracle I didn't lose the whole house. And as I looked over towards the window, I saw a figure still standing there, watching the blaze, watching my work being destroyed. And believe me or don't, that figure was the deputy. He's young. I would have recognized him anywhere. He's got that hat. I saw the light in his eyes. It was him. I know it was him. But anyone I've even suggested this to says I'm crazy. I mean, they think they don't believe me on account of I may have exaggerated the truth in the past. But I found something real. And he burned this place down to stop it. But I got lucky. Every now and then, hey, even losers got to get a win. I'd already developed the photo. It wasn't in there that night. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
He heads back towards the things, and he goes underneath the table, and there's there's a safe that today would have been ordered off like Amazon or Wish. It's kind of shit. He undoes it and slides it open, and he pulls out a photo. It's like folded over and a little bit crumpled, and this is what he shows you. I'm gonna get it up for the viewers too. Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Something.
I don't know what I'm seeing.
He goes, I was testing a new film. It lets me photograph things at night. I was just taking shots of the moon, and I saw something moving across it. I don't know what it was, but the deputy got an eyeful of me. He musta. I don't even know what this is, but it was enough to burn down my building for. I mean, I never printed this. Truth told, I'm scared of the man now, and I don't know what he'll do if he knows I'm sharing this, so, best to keep this between conspirators, huh?
Well, listen, Mr. Wendell, now that we're co-conspirators, and I'll look up for, signs from Chaz. If Chaz seems to be kind of not, indicating that I shouldn't go down this direction, I'll stop. But there were some things we were holding back from you too, because of exactly the same. We've seen some things out in the woods at night, in the trees. Strange things. Do you bring up, out of curiosity, Chaz, the lights that you saw?
Yeah, now you mention it. We saw some lights on the way back here just tonight.
Lights in the woods.
Yeah, up in the foothills where we were digging.
Wendell would just go through his notes and like jot down some things. He goes, I mean, I've heard stories and things of that. I don't know what it all plugs towards, but there's something at work here.
Mr. Wendell, if there really is something here, I think that maybe we're going to be here for a while and we can keep looking into things. Maybe the best thing would be for you to go and try and get this story out in one of the other towns, get things published, and we can try and gather more information and come to you for a follow-up.
I reckon that's not a bad idea. Listen, you've given me a lot to work with here, and I reckon I can begin to get something put together. But I mean, we're really playing with fire here, and trust me, I've been burned before. Figure out what we know, and then we'll figure out how we print it. For the time being, let's keep this on the hush, and maybe we shouldn't be sitting in one another's company so much. We can talk again when things begin to get a little more concrete.
Sure. Maybe you got a back door we could leave out of today?
No back door, but people ain't looking so close, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
One last thing. Blaine, we can't find him at the minute. Apparently, we think he's vanished. Is there where would people go to get it? Oh, sorry, Chad.
Yeah, he's probably gone looking for a drop. Where do you get a drink in this town?
Oh,
you have to.
If you're after a drink, I mean, the sheriff's pretty hard ass about it. I know Harlow runs some hooch in and out of town. If he's close with him, he probably got it there.
He
but between the
ran away
sheriff
from
and the
Harlow.
reverend, they run a pretty tight ship. Not much going around here. You gotta keep a personal supply.
All right. Well, thanks anyway.
Yeah, no worries. All right. He shakes each of your hand, and it's definitely more serious than it was previously. He goes, "We're doing good work here, and we're gonna find the truth, huh?"
Anonymity, Mr. Wendell.
Yeah.
Remember.
Anonymity. Yeah. Not a worry. The two of you are taken towards the front and released, pushed back out into the hot evening. And by this point, it's like 5:45. Like, it's getting pretty late.
I think Katie's genuinely developed a new love for journalism. Like you could just put out all the proof and then someone else can take it. Yeah, become a researcher. That sounds awesome. Although we'll see how long.
Looking around, like, he's clearly lied a lot in the past. He's got a history of doctoring images and like printing mistruths and stuff. Like, he's definitely,
But he's landed himself in a boy cry wolf situation, it seems.
All right. I think at this point, Seb, you've seen the paper after Clarissa shows it to you, and Clarissa goes, "Oh God, Blaine's gonna be fucking furious."
Yeah.
Just quickly, does it credit Laszlo as giving an interview?
Yes, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. Sources are printed as Chaz Dedrick and Terrence Laszlo. Yes,
I don't think Seb would have given the first name. He just said Laszlo, so I think
he was able to get it. That
Okay.
like pretty basic
Yeah.
to find the first. Yeah,
He's
he got that.
Because I was gonna say like he could absolutely just made up another first name if he had to, but yeah, that is an unfortunate article. Forgive me, Mr. Root. Have you seen Mr. Blaine? He did leave us quite early in the morning, and given that he has not arrived back and seems to be with the deputy, did he come back to camp?
No, he drove us up there, and then he returned to the bus with Mr. Harlow. I imagine, given the bus is here, they drove back into town, and I don't know where he went from then. He never came back. They were late to pick us up, and Mr. Harlow only made his way out after Blaine never showed.
Oh, well. Perhaps he found something more entertaining to do with his time with the deputy, but
I can only imagine so. At this point, Chaz and Katie emerge from nearby, and you can see them. Additionally, Noakes returns, making his way, and Trent is also seen, gathering near the bus for the 6 p.m. When Noakes comes through, he will say, yeah, you saw Laszlo's still door knocking. I think he wanted to get another interview or so, and he's going to be pushing it, but I think he'll make it back just before 6, before we depart.
I am absolutely sure that, if he does not, he'll enjoy the walk home.
No great loss, see. Does anyone do anything in the next sort of like 10 minutes or so before, as the clock ticks down towards when you're ready to depart?
I would like to start something.
Uh-oh. Uh-huh.
How about you?
I would, as we're walking back to join the group, or as we're milling around, I would like to go over to Clarissa.
Yep.
And just say, Miss Thurber, forgive me. I was wondering how well you knew Mr. Blaine, just generally.
I mean, in passing, sure. I'd never spoken to him before we left today. I think he's in one of my classes, though.
Right, I see.
Sorry, before we left on the trip.
Yes, I assumed. Yeah, no, that... Just,
Why do you ask?
Well, if he's been gone all day, I just wondered whether you knew him well enough to have an idea of where he might have got to. I have some passing familiarity with him, but not enough to take a guess at where he's gone, and I do not wish to credit unkind rumors.
Listen, they're not just rumors. Everyone knows he's a drunk, and everyone knows he's gotten worse since the last expedition. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's safe. I just want all this to be done. No offense to the guy, but he kind of creeps me out. Every time I look over, he's watching me or making sure dude creeps me out. All right, I just want to get this done. I want to get home, and I want to resume my summer vacation.
I can feel that a lot, Miss Thurber. I too wish to get this done and dusted. If Blaine is causing you trouble, do please feel free to use me as a shield should you require.
Look, I appreciate that, and truth told, I'm just gonna make sure there's always others around, you know? I don't, he's just a weird, I think whatever happened last year, clearly it hurt him. Clearly he was found, I don't know, I imagine he's coping somehow, but that's not my problem, and he can sort it out himself.
Certainly is not our problem. Well, Miss Thurber, I shall leave you to your book. I know how much you enjoy your time alone, so.
She steps to the side and she alternates between thumbing through pages, and she's got like the notes that she's compiling from the geological survey, and checking her watch. Does anyone else do anything as we approach 6 p.m.?
I'm gonna thumb through the notes that I took from the doctor, and something's gonna click for Seb. and I'm going to say this because I rewatched the episode and something clicked for me when I rewatched it. But it's gonna have to wait. You're just gonna have to wait until we have a conversation. But yeah, something clicks for Seb as he's running through his notes.
Okay, cool. Katie or Chaz?
All right. Well,
Do you want a milkshake, Chaz? I haven't eaten all day.
yeah. All right.
Go to the diner, grab a malt.
Okay, yeah.
So everyone's come back except Blaine, right?
And Laszlo's running late, but he has been
and
confirmed
we
to
know
be
where he
in
is.
Cobb's corners. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've done all we can. I guess if Blaine doesn't want to show up, he doesn't want to show up.
Okay.
Hopefully he will. Just give him a few minutes, you know.
So you guys go and like grab a milkshake from the adjacent diner. Block and some of the boys TM are set up inside there, drinking and like just soda and shit. Lads. And just having a pre-dinner before the post-dinner back at the house, which is probably going to be pretty basic. The kitchen's a bit average. Gibbon spent all his money on fireworks, so he's just nipping chippies. So as you get in there and as you're placing the order, Seb from outside, you and Clarissa and the others that are waiting see the deputy's truck return.
Ooh.
As it drives down, and you will note that it is coming from the north, from out of town, as it comes down the trail and parks outside.
From where we were?
That general direction. That does branch. There are a number of different trails and things, but it could have been from that place, yeah. As it pulls up, the deputy steps out, takes in the sides, like nods to the students that are gathering, and Blaine gets out from the other side. He has his hands like in his jacket, and as he walks up to everyone in front of the bus, he looks to Kleber.
Kleber.
Brain fart on stream.
As awful. He looks to Thurber and says, "Get everyone on the bus from the diner as well. We're going now." And he's clearly pissed.
As in, like, angry or drunk?
Angry.
Right.
Oh.
Although
That's the beauty
maybe
of
there's
the
a little
Australian
bit.
vernacular.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
he's at a few.
Shit-faced.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fucking maggot, mate. Oh, alright. Yeah.
Skull and tinnies. Yeah, as he gets out of the truck, all the tins rattle onto the ground.
Like, everyone get in the car.
He's got the shoey up, his thongs flap along the ground as he heads towards you.
Hello to all of our international viewers, and welcome to the We Talk in Australian Vernacular for a short period of time, and no one understands what we're talking about.
Goes. He gets
You're
everyone.
not having a stroke, I promise.
We might be. Everyone's rallied towards the car, and Chaz, it does not take a psych major to notice you in particular are glared at.
What? What did I do?
As you come up and head towards it, he looks at you and he goes, "Get on the bus, Dedrick."
Oh, God.
I'm getting on the bus.
And then he looks around and he goes, "Where the hell is Laszlo?" And Noakes goes, I think he's coming. He's only a moment away. He could probably just walk back. And Blaine cuts him off and goes, "No, we're waiting. He's coming with us." You wait for a beat, and then you can see Laszlo, like, swanning down the street, not in a rush at all. He's got his little briefcase, which is swinging along behind him. He's trying to play it cool. So Blaine gets out and yells at him in front of everyone, in front of all the like locals and things. He just yells like, "Laszlo, here now!" People are looking out. A couple of the kids are like cringing a little bit as like as this scene plays out, and Laszlo like stops. They go, begins to walk a little, still trying to be like kind of keep his cool, but clearly shaken. As he gets to the bus, the door is wrenched closed behind him. He heads back to find a seat, and the bus begins to pull out and head to the McLaren farmhouse. From the back,
as he walks past me,
Yeah.
I make sure to say, "Oh, you're in for it now, Laszlo."
Laszlo clearly doesn't understand what's happening because
That's okay.
he looks at that. He goes, "What the hell's happening?" He
Does
goes
anyone
like,
have a copy of the paper? Can we like hand him one or something?
okay. Actually,
No,
Chaz,
don't. I'll intercept that.
As you have a paper, no one else does, I would say. So as he gets towards the back, he like tries to go, are we gonna be? And Blaine from the front just like doesn't say anything, but he swings around and he glares at everyone in the car, and it just silence. Everyone just shuts up. And the bus continues to drive. Okay, most people there. And the big bus continues to drive back towards McLaren Farmhouse. Harlow in the truck behind is following with the equipment. Seb?
I realize Blaine is angry, obviously. I'm not going to exacerbate his anger, but I am not, what's what I'm looking for?
Demure.
Yep.
No, I'm not put off by the fury, because this is someone who's a year older than me and used to be head of the debating team but isn't anymore. I respect his authority as he's been told, the professors have said he's the one who's leading the charge. Outside of listening to him in that capacity, I'm sorry, but Seb is his social superior. I do not I will continue engaging whoever I was talking to in conversation quietly, but I'm not stopping. I'm not afraid of this man. He is a bolshy drunk.
Ooh.
That's true.
He was creeping out young women.
Yeah, which is not great. You continue to talk about most of the others are fairly cowed and not trying to push him any further. But you're able to, you keep your cool. And as you head in towards the farmhouse, the bus arrives, the doors swing open, and the rain is properly beginning to drop down now. It's wet outside. You can't spend much time or you will get drenched. Without direction, people begin to unload the geology equipment, and soon Joe Harlow's truck will leave. Are you guys helping? Is there anything you particularly want to do? Otherwise, you'll gather inside the house shortly.
I was excited. I don't know why. It's like that. It's like when you know something really terrible and destructive is about to happen, like a massive kind of storm coming down, and it's going to be terrible. And the aftermath's going to be horrible. But before it happens, there's this weird kind of excitement.
Yeah.
He's looking forward to it.
Things are about to shake up.
I might get to my room a bit early if I can.
Okay, yeah, so you're going to try and head inside and kind of take cover?
I'm getting the vibe. If everyone's sort of waiting around for us all to be yelled at, I will wait around. But if it looks like that I can make a quiet and quick escape, I'm going to.
So everyone everyone unpacks the equipment, and Blaine heads into the house and sets up in the main area, clearly waiting to kind of gather people as they come inside. Katie, you could make a stealth roll. This is not super sneaking. That would be failing a push or fumbling, but just to kind of slip past.
Yep. I'll give it a shot. All right, here we go. Oh,
you are so lucky you have 50 in that.
No, fumble would have been real bad.
as you try and get up towards your room, there's a snap, and when you look around, Blaine's pointing at you, and he goes, "Miss Wilkes, here."
Yeah. Hurry over.
And everyone begins to gather in the main area. Yep.
I have taken roll call on everyone to make sure everyone was on the bus, just because that seems like a thing that one should do.
That also seems sensible. Everyone made it onto the bus.
Very good.
And everyone made it off the bus, and they're all gathering, and it doesn't look like anyone's trying to avoid this. Although Terrence keeps on trying to slide up to people and get more information, and no one is talking to him or explaining to him what happened, and he's kind of just looking bewildered.
I am going to make my way into the kitchen. I'm just going to walk past Blaine and into the kitchen as though I'm going to start preparing food or something like that.
Okay. Yep. So you sidle past. As long as you're within earshot, he's not going to push the matter, and you are not the current target of his fury. All right, after everyone gathers in the main area, he stands there, and he's doing the hands on his hips, looking at the ground just in disbelief. Clenched in one of his fists, you could see what looks to be a newspaper. And as he walks back and forth, there is a fairly uneasy silence as people just wait for it to happen. He stops after a beat and he goes, "Well, I assume by now everyone's seen today's paper. I assume everyone's seen the article mocking the death of my friends. And further, claiming I was involved in their disappearance? This hate-spewing, lie-filled rag doesn't just insult me, it is a mockery to the memory of the missing, and he slams it down on the table, and of the dead. As he slams it down, everyone can see the photo of Chaz on the front, and he goes, Dedrick, come here. As you take a step forward, Laszlo snickers, nice one, Dedrick, and then you hear, Laszlo, here! And the two of you are dragged towards the front. How are you reacting, Chaz?
It's cool. I'm just gonna say that the reporter just made it all up.
Okay, so you're walking forward, like trying to keep the cool face, which is clearly making him so much more pissed. As you walk forward, he's like fuming. He's beet red. There's steam coming out his ears. You both step forward. Laszlo's like sputtering and like confused as he looks between the two of you. Still not clear that his name was on the article. And Blaine takes a moment to center himself and goes, you both have 10 seconds to explain yourselves, or I'm driving you to Brattleboro myself and putting you on a train.
All right. Well, I mean, this Wendell guy is eager to get a story. I didn't tell him much. But, you read some of his other articles, he just makes stuff up, Blaine. Nothing happens in this town. As soon as something happens, he makes mountains out of molehills. That's his job. I mean, I didn't say half of this stuff to him. He just makes it up because he thinks that people like it. That's all there is to it. You can't prove otherwise. I was a little bit aggressive just so I could perhaps justify making intimidate rather than persuading or fast talk.
Don't you have fast talk now, though?
Do I have any fast talk?
I think you did propose fast talk.
Not much.
I tell you what, I completely agree. I think that you can't prove it can absolutely swing it into intimidate, but if you fail this, that is a bad look. Laszlo's standing next to you, like sputtering a little bit, and as he keeps on trying to like get an angle, he's looking down at the paper, and you can see when he finds his name at the bottom, he just goes white.
Oh my god!
I'm going intimidate to like keep my steely persona, because I'm hoping if I look steely and Laszlo looks, surprised and sputtering, that's gonna make him look more guilty than me.
That is so good.
That's why I was trying to keep the newspaper off him, so he didn't see it until the last second.
All right, Chaz. So if you go fast talk and fail, things haven't gotten too much worse. You're kind of in the same pool, right? But you haven't got your way out. You're gonna need to, things to. If you go intimidate and fail, things will probably escalate. But that said, I'd love to see it.
Me too.
All right, let's go. And the intimidate strategy, I think, might shift blame to Laszlo better.
Yeah,
all right.
That's what I'm going for.
You legend.
Roll the bones.
Yeah, what of it?
Oh, it's luckable.
Is that worth 11 points?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I think it is.
Or
I
if
think
you,
it is.
and I can't imagine pushing it's gonna go very well.
Or pushing it would just be like turning to Laszlo and go, "What's your story?" But I won't. 11 points is fine with me.
Hell yeah,
But
dude.
for
That's
this
fantastic.
specific thing, fucking luck it, mate. Like,
Yeah.
All right.
that's
Done.
what luck's for.
Okay.
Steel face.
Hey,
He made it up.
Is the luck? Because I find it like when we use luck, it's not just we're good at something. Something happens outside our control that makes this better. So does Laszlo just start like shitting himself?
I think Laszlo stutters. Laszlo's out of it. Laszlo can't really form an argument. I think what happens is Blaine is aware. He mentioned when you first met with the reporter that he slanders and he lies and he prints mysteries. So he's got a history with the guy and he knows he lies in the past. So I think you say it.
I just say, I didn't give him nothing, and then give a pointed look to Laszlo.
Blaine looks between the two of you. You can see him trying to find, like, trying to rebalance himself, bring himself back down from fury. And eventually he just grits his teeth and goes, "No one talked to that reporter. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. You two are on thin ice. Thinner ice. No more mistakes." And he grabs the paper and he heads towards his room. Katie?
Could I make a psychology check? This might seem silly. He wasn't involved with the disappearance, right? It's not why he was so
I
sensitive.
will say, you've gotten a reaction out of him.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Exposes
Katie.
his true self.
Make a psychology test with a bonus dice. Definitely scaled results.
Okay.
Probably beginning at hard. Just a heads up.
Well, let's start with the hard.
Oh.
And yeah, we'll keep the hard, I guess. Is that worth? No, it's not worth 20 points of luck.
I tell you
but,
what, I'm gonna.
Oh
be
wait,
a-
no, it'll be 15. Yeah, hard's fine. Sorry.
I'm gonna be a little
13
vague.
points.
When he said it insults the memory of the missing and the dead, when it wasn't just about him, that felt like he tacked it on, like he kind of forgot and found himself that like this is also about these people. It really seemed to be very self-centered. And he was like, oh yeah, and it's insulting to these folks that went missing, the ones that, you know, the center of the article. Additionally, the image of Daphne in particular seems to have aggravated him.
Huh. Huh. And he's doing all this weird leering at Clarissa.
He grabs the paper, storms off to his room, and the door slams shut. Immediately behind Laszlo is a ooh that
Wait,
rises
who?
from the crowd. Probably Gibbons.
Gibbons?
At least, yeah. Actually, probably Higgins. I'll take it back. Higgins. I think the Irishman. Probably bigger.
In that case, I'm gonna turn around to Higgins, because I'll exit again and look at Higgins and be like, Mr. Higgins, would you be so kind as to assist me in removing Mr. Laszlo's stuff from our room? I really don't want someone who creates such expository nonsense rooming with me. I wonder what he's gonna say to the paper. If you would like to room with me, that would be much more preferable.
He like chirps something and he goes, "It would be my pleasure." And he goes up with you, and Laszlo is still standing, looking down at where the paper was, going, I don't know who that was. Who are any of these people? What is happening? Why am I being yelled? As you go up and you begin to drag things down.
I'm not even gonna it's literally just gonna be like, I'm shunting it all out the door and Higgins' stuff is now in the room with me.
Okay, perfect. All right. Outside, the storm continues to like down. It's dark and night falls. Dinner is a fairly like subdued affair, just because also the food's just kind of shit. And Blaine does not return for some time. Clarissa and Noakes and some of the others are like going over their notes and things from the day, compiling evidence and whatnot. Laszlo is for the most part stunned, and Trent posts himself at one of the windows, like looking out at and reading a book. Laszlo is going to look for you at one point, Dedrick, and have a chat to you. What's everyone doing in like the next few hours as we head towards nightfall? Or
But before night falls, I will have a quick chat with Block, Gibbons, and Higgins, the boys. But if Laszlo wants to find me first, he's welcome to it.
Okay. At this point, Laszlo's getting all his stuff back and moving it down to find one of the cots that's emerged. As you find Block, Gibbons, and Higgins and gather them up, Harry Higgins has what looks to be a very shiny new watch. It's possibly just nicked. And he's just looking over it. He's tapping and goes, "Nice, eh?"
Can I?
Seb?
Yeah, just again, narrative shit. As Laszlo's walking down the stairs, Seb is just leaning on the balcony, like the mezzanine balcony, just looking down at everything, just surveying. Obviously surveying.
Laszlo's ears are red. He's trying not to look at everyone, and he's occasionally like half arguing in his own favor, but he just also no one's got a copy of the paper and won't give one to him, so he doesn't know the exact. He really just can't figure out what happened and why. Chaz.
Yeah, is he coming for me or do I?
No. This is you. This is you and the boys' team.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead with what we were discussing last night, right? We're gonna keep a watch out tonight. 4 of us, 2 hours each. That's not so bad. I think we can handle that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can keep an eye out. Seems like we're gonna be losing a bit of sleep, but I agree. There's some weird shit happening. So yeah, sure. Let's do a watch.
2 hours a night, keep folks safe. I think it's worth it.
All right. How do you want to divvy it up?
Well, I don't mind going first. That's all right. If you folks want to get some shut-eye first.
Listen, truth told, I mean, we'll probably hang out, play some games, cards and whatnot until midnight or so at least. We really only got to watch the last 6 hours or 8 hours before day. Also, I mean, I think there's a church service tomorrow morning, so as long as we get through to then, everyone should be up and moving at least. So 6 hours, divide it up, no problem.
Let's do it.
All right. I guess between the two, you'll divvy it up so that you'll go first. You'll then wake Block into Higgins into Gibbons.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. See, it seems like you're being selfless by offering to go first. But
It's super easy.
The best sleep schedule. It's true.
All right, you set this up, and when everyone breaks and heads over, Laszlo is nearby, standing near the door. He's got his briefcase and his trunks behind him, and he keeps on. He's trying to find a cot, which looks nicer than the others, but he's shit out of luck when he's getting Higgins. He makes his way over to you, Dedrick, and it's a little hat in hand. The dynamic has certainly shifted as he comes up to you and he goes, "Evening, Dedrick."
Laszlo?
I wanted to ask if you knew anything more about this reporter and whatever was published. I know you said he's a liar. I have heard similar, and I will admit I had some very strange interactions today throughout the town where people were quite rude to me as I was trying to interview them. So I'm thinking I can't get sent back. Papa will be furious. So we need to make sure that this doesn't go any further. So I was going to suggest that we, that is you and I, myself being the brains and the charisma, yourself being the hulking, brainless brawn, go and pay this reporter a visit tomorrow, find some proof or similar to we could present to Blaine and clear our names. Do we have a deal, sir? He spits into his hand and holds it as you go, no.
Fuck that guy, he wants attention, right? He wants eyes. He wants stories. The more you tell him, the more he takes. I think we just ignore it.
It's just he's standing it. Oh, his hand slightly wet with spit, beginning to dry. Well, it's just Dedrick, Chaz. I can't go. If Blaine pushes this further and sends us home, do you have any idea how much trouble we'll be in?
Laszlo, I gotta explain something to you. This is something I've learned, and maybe it's something you haven't learned yet. But in this life, not everyone's gonna like you.
Speak for yourself, Dedrick.
You might find that more than some, but that's the truth, all right? Seems like this Wendell guy doesn't like you. Maybe half this town doesn't like you. Maybe Blaine doesn't like you. Who cares?
People like me, Dedrick. All right, I did several classes. My father paid for them for when I take over the business on social engagements and such. I kill at dinner parties. All right, I'm very successful. I've given numerous toasts and quite the talk of the town. So
all right.
Maybe you have these sorts of problems, Dedrick, but I'll be okay. You don't want my help? Fine. Sink or swim, Dedrick, and I hope you bought your floaties.
Oh god.
All I'm saying,
Begins to
go
dry his
shirt-
hand on his pants.
You're gonna go shirt front that Wendell guy. You're gonna end up in a deeper grave than you are now. Mark my words.
Do you want to make an intimidation test? Actually, I want to
Yeah.
say, what are you angling for? Is this make sure he doesn't stuff around with the reporter, or are you just trying to separate yourself from him?
Yeah, I'd rather keep him separate from me, but also don't mess with the reporter because, yeah, we've got a secret alliance going on. Step off, Laszlo.
Okay.
Go back to your corner and cry about it. You can be well liked enough in your little world where everyone's on your payroll, but out here sometimes you gotta let it go. It's gonna end up worse for you.
Hey, very reasonable response. He dries his head in his pants and heads back over to his cot and begins to unpack his things. Seems to have been chilled for now.
Good talk.
I have such a desire. I have such a desire to make Laszlo the liar a thing that goes around, but
I'm just hoping that he gets put as the patsy for my anonymous source.
yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Because everyone saw Chaz cools a cucumber and Laszlo sweating in his
shit.
jocks. Yeah. Everyone saw that.
I would like to have a word with Trent, if possible, before the evening is out.
Sure. So after dinner, Trent sets himself up in a corner, kind of away from everyone else, kind of forgotten. He's got his legs curled up under him, and he's got a book, which as you approach is clearly a book from the library. You can see like a slip in the inside of it. As you approach, he doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
I go and like hover nearby, too worried to interrupt him from his book. So when he looks up, it's clear that I've been there for a while. We're back in it. I can out-awkward this guy.
He's looking down at his book. You can see him mouthing the words as he reads over them. And as he spots you over the edge of the thing,
I get scared when he sees me and I go, oh.
he splinters a little bit at it, and then he slowly closes it. He looks behind himself at the wall to see if maybe you want to talk to someone else, not to him. And then he realizes, he points at himself. He goes, yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Sneeze.
He pauses, and then just as you begin to try talk again, he goes, oh, bless you.
He hits back hard this one. All right. I'm just wondering what you're reading about.
I'm just interested in local history and folklore.
I am too. Have you read no, stop mentioning some authors. I have pretty good occult. I would like to try and figure out what he's researching.
Yeah, make an occult roll, or a social skill if you want to just try and get it out of him.
I don't think either of us have any social skills.
Okay. You do kind of you get a connection. I notice a couple of things. Trent is very bad at talking to people. He is particularly bad at talking to women. And there is like an extra, you seem to genuinely terrify him. But you're able to both kind of like go to the, like, you get a thread going. You start talking about stuff, and you're able to kind of like sit quietly next to each other and talk about things. He got this book from the library. He actually not stole, he intends to return it. But when he went to talk to the librarian, she wasn't there. And then he got really nervous and flustered. And he just walked out. And then he realized what he'd done, so he hid. And then he only made a break for the bus after everyone was back there and he knew he could get away. Tomorrow he's going to go back there and sneak it back into the library and hope that no one noticed it.
I totally understand. By the way, I'd like it to be clear that there wasn't a chair next to him, so I've spent this entire time standing really awkwardly, too scared to bring a chair over.
He noticed halfway through, but it was too late to offer anything, so now he's uncomfortable. And he was on like a reclined like couch bed thing, so he's like laying down throughout this whole thing like an awkward therapy session.
I sneeze again.
He doesn't say anything this time. He tries to go back to his book because he thinks you're leaving.
Okay, yeah. So what is he looking into?
So he's looking into the local history and stories and things. In particular, this book, which he holds over and shows to you, is titled Ecstasy, Flames, and the Druids of Brighton. As he holds open, he goes and he's like, it contains barbaric he goes red orgies and it's rituals too. He begins to hide it up, and you hear muffled from behind the book, fertility gods. And he seems to be super awkward. He's beat red, and he's just, you can see he's clearly just praying you leave.
Well, the ultimate awkward. I said, "What's an orgy?" And then let's leave that there. Just to make things awkward as fuck. I know. After figuring out what he's looking into, I'm going to leave. But I will mark down that I want to look into druids and stuff like that. This is all feeding into the vague descriptions of my ongoing plan.
When you leave and head back, and you see him, he watches you go, just like seeing you leave, and then when you do, he flinches and looks back on, hides back behind his book, and goes back to reading. Clearly, it's a page turner.
Content like that, how couldn't it be?
Hot dog. Does anyone else have anything they want to do in the near future?
I mean, I would very much like to say, not that I think it's going to happen, but hot damn do I want fan art of shit like that now. Like, so much. There is nothing more than I want to see delightfully awkward moments actually depicted in image.
No. You can't unlaunch that ship art.
Still up.
I'm pretty sure that ship launched, at least if you're talking about ship. That launched last week, and that's already fucking happening.
You can't unring that bell.
You can't.
Well, I'm ringing it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, actually, I would like to speak to Miss Wilkes in the course of the evening.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Did you? Thank you again for our conversation last night. I was actually meaning to chat with you. I found some interesting things at the library we should talk over at some point.
Just a reminder, I was in the library.
Yeah. Yes. But after you left, I mean.
Oh, I see. Right. Sorry, I just glanced at chat. Back in character. Miss Wilkes, no, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for taking a look at those things for me. I was wondering, in your research into accidents and misfortunes of the town, if you had come across anything related to this, to the McLearons.
I didn't really get any specific information on anybody. It was all general kind of statistics. A lot of the names were redacted even. I'm afraid I don't have that kind of information, but I'll kind of glance around and leaning conspiratorially, and I will whisper, Chaz and I, we did some interviews, and we found that there are other people who have heard similar kind of suspicious things, and some of them might have even found proof of it, and had that proof burnt out from under them, taken away.
Well, that is fascinating. It didn't click at the time, but do you remember the drunk Jimmy?
Yeah.
Jimmy McLearon.
McLearon. I'm sorry, you're going to have to make things clearer to me. What does he have to do with anything?
Well, don't you think it's rather odd that Jimmy McLearon is the town drunk and we just happen to be staying at his farm?
I suppose that is interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe that's worth a conversation. I mean, how in a town like this, McLearon can't be too common of a name.
I mean, perhaps not. It could be nothing. And I certainly didn't pick it up at the time, but looking back through my notes, McLearon Farmhouse, Jimmy McLearon whose wife disappeared from a casket.
It's It's definitely worth looking into. Maybe we can see if we can interview Jimmy.
Perhaps. I would like to see if there are any birth, deaths, marriages records. Perhaps tomorrow at church we'll be able to find such a thing. It's usually the clergy who keeps good records of their flock.
Yeah, church. That's a good point. Listen, you don't think we could have a quick chat with Chaz as well, do you?
I mean, we certainly can. Is there something specific you wish to speak to Mr.
This
Cedric
might
about?
be a crazy idea, but if we can rally the investigators, we're all friends now. Hell yeah.
Well,
You know,
I,
close enough.
I tolerate people as
Yeah.
much as I tolerate anyone.
If our card games are winding down, then Chaz will be posted near the window, or perhaps out the door on the porch.
I think you guys are taking a break for some of you to run out to refill flasks from the barn under torchlight, and you're taking 10 in between cards. It's still not that late at night. It's like
All right.
it's 8 p.m. or so.
Very good.
Listen,
Deal you
well, I guess, yeah, I'll play. But listen, I want to talk about. We've seen some of the strange things happening here. We've all been talking about, once we're sort of caught up on, the various conversations we've had. I really didn't feel safe with how bizarre Blaine was behaving when he flew off the handle like that. It seemed like he only mentioned everybody else as an afterthought, and he still doesn't explain where he vanished to with the deputy, and especially if we think the deputy was involved in, well, I think that we should do two things. I think we should check tonight somehow to see if Blaine is still in his room. And then tomorrow morning, anyone who's not going to church maybe we can take that time to get into Blaine's room, try and figure out if he's just, got a bunch of bottles in there and if he's drinking or if there's something else going on.
All right. I like this. If someone wants to take a peek in his room, maybe someone should tail him tomorrow, see what he gets up to. Because he was supposed to pick us up, right? He was supposed to check in the middle of the day at the dig site. Didn't check in. He was meant to come with Harlow to pick us up. Didn't show up, right? There's something fishy going on, and I'm probably not the one to ask about it. But someone should.
First and foremost, Miss Wilkes, you have a flair that I was not expecting.
I guess Violet tends to be the flary one.
Yes, but Violet isn't here suggesting breaking and entering. I think you and I are going to get on quite well.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad about that. Look, my plan was to just go and wander around in my nightgown again. If I got caught, I could just say I was sleepwalking. It's established at this point. But maybe it's just best to wait until the church tomorrow. Some of us can stay back and while things are quiet,
Were you planning on attending church tomorrow, Miss Wilkes, or do you think
I
another episode of sleepwalking might put you in a position to need some extra bed rest?
I think I might suggest that, yes.
Very quickly, of the NPCs, only Trent and Clarissa are going to church tomorrow.
Okay.
Most of
I
the
am
people
also-
are staying behind.
But Blaine is taking...
Blaine is going to drive them in.
Yeah, so I am intending to go to church because I have... The church interests
Yep,
me.
nope, that's totally fine. Just flagging there will be plenty of people still here. It's totally reasonable to not go. It's an opt-in rather than an opt-out.
I will organize to not go.
I will have relayed everything that the doctor told me. I don't know that I will have relayed it was the doctor, because he did specify don't say that, and I don't think I trust either of these two yet to divulge that, but I will, talk about expand on the calf in the casket and the accidents with non-human blood and all kinds of fun things, just to make that explicit. I am somewhat interested in why this church has been vacant for so long. And, who these... What are they called? Baptist nutjobs? They have some delightful name.
The church is called...
The Church of the something and something and something.
First Baptist Church of the Divine Ascension.
That's the one. First Baptist Church of the Divine Ascension. That sounds like some cult level behavior. Passing knowledge of the occult, therefore passing knowledge of cults.
Well,
Yeah, all right. So, do we still want to see what Blaine was up to yesterday? I could try to tail him. I think I'm going to be in town tomorrow anyway to help with the stories.
Oh, by the by, Chaz, actually, I thought you were on the geology team, were you not?
Yeah, I am. And
I
I'm
sense a
on the
but
anthropology team.
Oh, I see. I understand.
What's the deal? I can be helpful with both. I work twice as hard as anyone else, so it makes sense. I can get twice the work done.
Oh, no, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, an extra set of hands to deal with equipment and to assist in the unloading of a grocery truck might actually be quite handy tomorrow. If you would like to accompany me down to Miss Bellwether's abode, I was planning on taking the phonograph in order to take some interviews, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable way to convince Blaine that you should move from the geology team to the anthropology team for a day. I think we can certainly wrangle that if that is your intent.
Yeah. I can do both. Look, I'll be honest. All I have to do is make sure I make a contribution to each team, and make sure someone sees me making said contribution, and we'll be golden.
Well, I can certainly say I have seen you make a contribution, Mr. Dedrick, so...
Well, I think we're gonna get on just fine then, McCarthy.
I'll be out on the geology team tomorrow. I guess. I mean, Chaz, you know.
Oh, you will. You know, I want to ask you a favor. In that case, can you borrow the camera from the anthropology department and take that camera down? Higgins found a thing down by the riverbank. There's a little carving on a little cave down there. Maybe get some snaps of that, and make sure you mention that Chaz sent you.
Yeah. Okay. I can do that, and I guess I mean, maybe between the two of us, Seb, we could, if anyone asks on any particular day, we saw Chaz where we were, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can honestly say that if Chaz accompanies me tomorrow, I will be seeing him in the grocery van, and I think, plenty of people saw him on the geology team today, so...
Yeah.
It's all coming together, and I'm going to owe you one. Thanks.
Of course. I feel like, we've got brains, we've got brawn, we've got money. What else do we need?
A winning combination.
So you said you could deal me in? I wouldn't mind playing a few hands of cards.
Yeah. Let's gamble a few.
Okay.
And right before we finish, if you'll permit me, David, may I make a mathematics check? You absolutely dominate
Rain
this
Man.
fucking game.
Hell yes.
It's about time.
Yeah, do a mathematics check.
All right,
Fumble.
here we.
I love it.
I will give you 10 points of luck. I want to succeed
Really?
this. I want to blitz this game.
Question.
Push it.
Can I make a luck roll to see if I just naturally get through this? Because my luck is also so.
I think mathematics. Yeah, make a luck roll. Jimmy, you can push it. I
Sure,
don't
what's
like
the-
it. Do not give me 10 points for this.
Okay,
Jimmy.
well, I'll push it. What's the what's my penalty?
I would guess it's cheating. Like it's
Or-
they can
cheating?
see.
Oh no,
Yes,
I
they can see
won't do
it.
that. No,
Or
I
is
just want to
it
say that I'm grumpy.
Katie? Either is it Katie developing a somewhat of a problem chasing that win?
Yeah, I'm fine
Yeah.
with that.
She's good.
I like that.
Yeah, let's
I
do
like
that. Let's do that.
yeah.
Let's do that.
All
All right,
right.
go for it, Jim.
Push it.
Oh yeah.
No.
All right. I think that might. I think you realize partway through that you can do it. Like you're like, hey, this can be done.
But it just
And then
doesn't work this time.
And also, but yeah, it's a bit of like a holy shit. I like this. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that's great. I think all right. Let's think about that. All right. So as we wrap things up, the storm is beginning to build outside, rain coming down in waves. It's not too heavy yet. It's expected it'll break sometime later tomorrow. The guys return from the barn where they did a run, and when they come back, they join the three of you at the table. And soon there's a little group around there, you know, being social, hanging out, sharing a drink or two. You play some cards, and eventually it actually moves towards Truth or Dare, as suggested by William Noakes. You begin to talk about yourselves and also propose ideas. Maybe one of you runs out to the barn in the dark. Maybe one of you harasses Terence Laszlo even further. Maybe one of you has a little look inside Blaine's room to see what he's been up to recently. But as night gets longer, Jason Trent nearby keeps on looking out the window because he's seen something moving out there. And although he isn't brave enough to say anything, hopefully you see it too. Last image we leave on is of the little plaque over everything where it says home sweet home. And we will pick up next session in the storm at night. So good shit, gang. All right. Well done, y'all.
Good stuff. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, audience.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for playing. Thank you all so much for watching. This will go up on the YouTube imminently. And then we'll be back next week for continuing chapter 1 of A Time to Harvest. We're beginning to uncover some nonsense and we're getting in more and more trouble. Can Chaz prevent himself being put on a train back to Arkham?
Look, if
just
Seb has
taking
anything to say
himself-
about it.
Yeah, can we get
That's true.
Laszlo on a train to Arkham?
Yes. If Seb has anything to say about it.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess I'll have to find out next time. Thank you all, and we will see you next week.